My appreciation to organizers of our event, ICT Business Council, for this opportunity to assemble together once again, and to our sponsors, because without their support we would not have been able to conduct this event. My name is Irakli Gvenetadze, and I will present the directions on electronic development, IT development, how we are being developed, and what the vision is. This is a UN index with respect to electronic development and directions, and within the previous years we did a big jump we are now on the 96 ranking place, and as we progress forward we need to work harder and in order to proceed. The same study Georgia proves that Georgia is in one of the best, occupies one of the best places in terms of investment, and this makes us proud, and we can say that we invest and we do the appropriate steps in this direction, and everyone involved is doing this in concert, and we hope that we will be doing this the same way manner. The next index is going to take place next year, spring, and we hope that the same progress will continue. So where we started, so we're kind of used to electronic services that are quite accessible, to obtain a passport in 1 hour, or registration of assets in 15 minutes. So how it looked in 2004 and 2006. So since we have this type of systems, and our system and information is protected in this way, and certainly there is a corruption, and we spend a lot of time to obtain our documentation, and this is quite inconvenient, and this causes some concerns among citizens. So we should remember this, because people tend to get too used to good services, but for that we need to invest great deal, to work hard, and everyday concern to develop this in this manner. Georgian government did not have the ambition to have the best electronic government, but Georgia does have a ambition to provide best services, the fastest way, without corruption, and so on. So all these changes that we call reform are in two directions: efficiency, transparency. So efficiency, we mean that we do something very expeditiously and with less cost, and the second is accountability and transparency, so that people should know how we spend money, and what the projects are, and how effective these projects, and all these information technologies were pronounced acknowledged as the best way on the way of reforms. One of the segment of the reform is the customs reform, risk management, and it would not have been possible without information technology. And as you may probably know, Georgia has come up with a strategy which was approved within the frames of public administration reform, and this strategy covers 3 years, and within the 5 years we have a plan of actions, and this will help us to carry out very effectively towards our goals that we have planned. So I will talk about this in more details. So where we are heading. First, when there was a Stone Age, let's say long time ago, there was a wisdom era, when wisdom was being transferred from person to person, when people were communicating to each other, so the information was preserved as a wisdom. And when the alphabets were introduced, then we received some written manuscripts, and information was spread in the form of manuscripts, and it was easier to preserve and store this information, and that's what we call a knowledge era. Libraries, telephones, TVs, and other technologies were invented, and once the computers were invented, that's what we call computer era, and this caused cultural breakthrough and accumulation of knowledge and wisdom, and attitude that is different now. It is very important today that every student, when is taught, it is important to know how to obtain and where to obtain the information. Information is stored somewhere, and we need to have an access to it. So that's what was caused by information technology, and this progress is proceeding forward with giant steps, and the development of information technology caused changes in society, such as more active engagement of citizens in society, open data was created, social network was created, which also helps in shaping of society and their interaction and exchange of information. And it is almost reality in most of the countries. Internet of Things, everything connected with internet, interconnection, intercommunication, when iron and TV and refrigerator are in constant communication with each other, and all the big data is based on this. And the next step is big data, which gives us analytical ability to make decisions, and we can actually have our hand on a pulse of requirements that come from the society, and the development of these systems actually led us to the effective systems which makes automatic decisions. So decision-making systems, which are related to different nets and networks, and based on algorithms and programs, the suggestions are being made what type of decisions need to be made. Globalization, exactly the product of this development. All the changes that we experience today, every citizen today can now so whatever happens in the society impacts us, and we can't say that we are now in Georgia and we're not interested what is happening in France. So connecting people around the world is now much more simpler. Being small does not mean being simple, and citizens are not geographically dependent on, so we are part of a globalized world, and this changes led to transformation of society values. When there was a fight for liberal values, now democratic values in 1920s was rather socially oriented, and 21st century is now more social coexistence, and which is a challenge for this millennium. And that's how we can see how our electronic governance is being developed. At the first stage, we were perceiving such a notion that it was good that the information is accessible from public services, and to post it on a web page or some contact information, telephone number, or upload or download any file. At the second stage, we created small tools which enabled citizens to fill out any application and send it out to. And the third was a transaction. One process initiated in one organization was automatically impacting another organization in an electronic format, and when all public services are interconnected and there are no processes that are fragmented, and all this is done automatically and are done in an interconnected manner. So based on this, in future, all these tools that were created impact the. So what are the challenges of all this development? The future of electronic development is going to be based on open management, open governance, so that public service or government should develop that services, that citizens should know what public authority is doing or any public official is doing and how they spend money, taxpayers' money, and accountability the same way. And it is very significant in description of all these solutions. One of the danger way or slippery slope is unauthorized use of this information against private citizen or private company. So that's why we need privacy. Information or cyber security becomes very significant. And in addition to that, the systems that became part of our lives, and we cannot imagine living without them, we have to provide for functioning of these systems. And this is also information or cybersecurity. So society becomes more dynamic, and information being exchanged is very fast, and there is a demand from society, and society is being used to requests or requirements of information being exchanged and shared. So society poses certain requirements towards government. So when we have elections every fourth year, so now government faces the dilemmas to react swiftly and react on demands of society, and that's how we develop electronic engagement tools, and that's how we create or recreate our approach towards public services. So we plan electronic petitions to launch, and Giga will talk about this, and this allow government to perceive most smoothly the needs of the society and act upon accordingly. So all this is the challenge of our e-government. So based on these principles, we will be developing our e-government within 5 years, and the presentations that will be done today are the part of the solution towards these challenges. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity and express my appreciation to those individuals who've been working tirelessly in development of e-government, and to all our partners. 2008 first IGI. So you can see the picture of the photograph of ours. We may look a bit tired at this picture, but I would like to say in any way that all these individuals and my colleagues that are not in this picture, they are pursuing the world with the same dedication towards the development of e-government. That was all I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for your attention.